We're at the water today to run this 2010 Glastron GT 209 Cuddy. This boat's fitted with a Volvo Penta 4.3 litre GXi fuel injected 220 horsepower Sterndrive. It's matched up to an SX Drive with a 19 pitch propeller, 14.5 by 19 pitch prop. And this is an immaculate boat. Very little hours on the clock on this thing. I think it's only got about 100 and something hours on it. And it's in beautiful condition. So let's get it on the river now and show you how it performs. So we're on the water this afternoon in this Glastron GT 209, and before we get underway I just want to walk you through the dashboard and the controls here quickly. So obviously having such low hours in this thing, it's only 118 hours, you would expect everything to be sort of nice and fresh feeling and tight, stuff like that, and it is. So throttle and shift is here, pushing this little side button. We've got forward gear, back to neutral, reverse gear. The shift on these SX drives is always nice and smooth. This one's no exception, it's well balanced. Steering is nice and light, power steering on this boat. And we've got a full suite of marine instruments. So we've got our temperature gauge here. I've given it a wee quick run, so we're just coming up to temperature. It'll sit eventually at around about 175, 180. Oil pressure is good, it'll vary from about 20 to 60 or 70 psi with engine speed. We've got our speedo here. We've got a digital depth sounder here, reading the depth in feet onto the keel, so that's working perfectly. We've got our trim gauge there, shows you where the position of the drive trim, so we'll keep her fully trimmed down until we're running up at speed on the plane. Rev counter's working here, battery voltmeter's working, showing about 13 volts, so charging okay. And we've got a fuel gauge there, almost a full tank of fuel in this boat as well. Nice selection of switch gear. We've got an engine blower motor. This wee thing comes on, this wee indicator light to show you that it's operating. We've got a switch panel for anchor and navigation lights, which are working panel lights, interior lights, and then both. I think I might have looked at this stuff in the showroom. Then we've got a bilge pump switch and accessory switch, and the horn, little horn's not working, but everything else is working. And we've got our Lowrance GPS. It's trying to find its position there at the minute. Hopefully that'll find itself now shortly. So we will get underway here now and show you how the boat runs. We'll get her up on the plane, run her cruising speed about 3,000 RPM or so, and then do a full speed run. So we will get lined up here and put the boat on plane. The GPS has now come to life, and we've got our speed information up here. So this is GPS speed, and obviously we're going to have pitot tube speed here, which is always a little bit more optimistic, but that should give us a good readout between those and those. And the tacho, I've noticed it's a little bit sticky, so I've had to give it the odd tap to get the needle going around, but it seems to be working okay now. So anyway, we'll put the boat on plane. We'll get spun around here so we're facing the other direction. We'll put the boat on plane, take it up to about 3,000 RPM, which is our cruising speed, and then we will do a full speed run. But the steering is nice and light, controls are all good. I've got good clear visibility through the screen here from a seated position, and then if I want to sit up or stand, you can easily stand here as well. Sitting on top of the bolster, this is my eye line here over the top of the screen. So, but to keep the noise a wee bit, the wind noise down, we'll sit down behind the screen. Okay, so we're trimmed down, give it a handful of throttle. You don't really lose sight of the horizon, it's up on plane pretty quickly there, a couple of seconds. We'll just keep her at 3,000 RPM. boat basically drives itself at this sort of speed. Steering isn't pulling to one side or anything. If you were going on passage somewhere, this would probably be the sort of speed you'd be running at. Take it up to about 4,000 RPM now, and we'll give it a wee bit of trim angle, trim it up slightly. That's us running at about 40 miles an hour on the speedo. .36 miles an hour on the GPS. So we'll just come off the plane now, passing the slipway. We'll turn around and give her a full speed run now. Okay, so we're trimmed down again for getting her up on plane. So we'll put her back on plane and take her up to full throttle. Here we go. So there you go. At full speed, we were revving, the engine was revving to just shy of 5,000 RPM. Speed on the boat speedo was 50 miles an hour. On the GPS, I saw it get up to about 46 was the highest I saw. So great running boat, runs really well. There's loads of power on tap for pulling water toys and water skiers and wakeboarders and things like that. And also, if you just want to cruise along in comfort and relative quiet and economically, the boat will do that at about 30 miles an hour, 3,000 RPM. It's super smooth, super quiet. The controls are all great. Just a really nice, comfortable boat to drive, and great example of one of these Glastron GT 209s. So hopefully that's given you a good idea of what this boat can do, and hopefully you found the video useful. Thanks for watching.